With diverse flora and fauna, magnificent natural landscapes, and an ecological biosphere that supports life, this wondrous planet is our earthly home. From our animal co-inhabitants to the lush rainforests and life-giving soil, we cherish all these as gifts from the Creator. It is a common theme in the world's major faiths that during our temporary stay here, we should be good stewards of Mother Earth. Throughout the years, Supreme Master Ching Hai has shared the message of leading a balanced life while following a spiritual path. Not only must we nourish our spirits, but we share the responsibility to care for nature and our fellow beings. In light of recent scientific evidence, which pinpoints the raising of livestock as the #1 contributor to climate change, Supreme Master Ching Hai affirms the important message she has noted for over the past 2 decades. We must be vegetarian, meaning an animal-free diet, and practice sustainable living. Today we present to you a 7-part series titled Eating Meat Destroys Lives and Harms the Planet, a compilation of excerpts from Supreme Master Ching Hai's discussions concerning the detrimental impacts of the meat diet on human health, the environment, and ultimately the health of our planet.
You know how much it goes into cows? How much acres to raise cows? And that land can never be productive again. Once a cow trample on it and eat the grass from it. How much land, how much water, how much medicine, how much pounds of grains and kind of protein grains from different poor country pour into the cattle before it deliver a piece of meat for one meal. It is a waste of human resource to eat meat. They say if everybody eats vegetarian diet, nobody is hungry, at least. We have more, too much more. We can export to Mars or Venus when we happen to find people there. Truly, you ask the research. We will print some articles soon about vegetarian benefits in many ways, not only you alone. Benefit the whole planet. They make a list of conclusion, of the research, why vegetarian benefit, and they calculated everything. If everyone, not everyone even, if even 1/4 of the world eat vegetarian, nobody goes hungry. Can feed the whole population without even having to work much. And now we work a lot, but to raise cattle, to kill thousands, millions animals every day. Sometimes you pass by a countryside when they raise cattle. And when you pass by, you see the whole field is black with cattle, And when you come back, empty. Gone. The whole field, many acres of land, so vast, full of cattle. And when you come back, all gone. Finished. You understand what I mean? It's a waste of product to eat meat. Never mind talking about compassion or love or enlightenment or moral standard, nothing, not yet. We owe it to mankind to eat vegetarian, not only to animals. And that is terrible waste of time, of the earth, energy and resources to feed the animals. They use more water than we humans ever do. To wash them, to feed them, to let them drink, and they use more vegetarian protein than human ever can eat. And you have to raise a cattle many years before you can eat it in one meal. It's too much. We will print some article from the experts in our next magazine. I have already selected some and have told the editor to print it next time. So you wait and research for yourselves. You can get in touch with them and ask them how they come into this and ask them for the proof. But you don't need it. When you see the figure, you know what it is. You know the proof right away. We depleted the earth because we raise cattle and animals. Actually, this is another way to contribute to our earth planet. You know all this. You read more books than I ever can imagine about vegetarian, about how to save our world, about environmental love and all kind of things. And vegetarian diet is the answer to all these questions. Our earth is collapsing because we eat too much meat. Actually, or we have to put it that way, roughly. Roughly it's like that. Every minute, every year we cut down forests as big as England just to raise animals. So how many rainforests have been destroyed? And this will change the atmosphere, you know what I mean? Change the atmosphere, change the rain. That's why our planet is heating up. And then many places are having problem with flood and also drought. Long period, you remember? So if we want to save the planet, if we want to preach environmental care, we should be vegetarian. There's no other thing to do, right? And that is just a small thing compared to all the vaccination and all the pure water used for meat and things like that. You already read the newspaper and magazines and television every day. I just remind you just a small portion of it. But the harmful effect of the meat diet is larger than life.
Some of the diseases related to meat consumption. Cured meats and fish increase leukemia risk in children. Antibiotic-resistant superbug infections from a strain of Staphylococcus aureus, blue tongue disease, E. coli, salmonella, bird flu, mad cow disease or Creutzfeldt-Jakob disease, 90% of the population at risk, pig's disease or PMWS, listeriosis, shellfish poisoning, preeclampsia, Campylobacter, Clostridium difficile, diseases hidden in healthy-appearing livestock. Some of the costs of meat eating. Infertility. Eating just one serving of meat per day increases the risk of women's infertility by 32%, with additional meat consumption increasing the risk. Heart disease. Over 17 million lives lost globally each year. Cost of cardiovascular disease is at least $1 trillion a year. Cancer. Over 1 million new colon cancer patients diagnosed each year. More than 600,000 colon cancer-related mortalities annually. In the United States alone, colon cancer treatment costs about $6.5 billion. Millions of people are newly diagnosed with other meat-related cancers every year. Diabetes. 246 million people are affected worldwide. An estimated $174 billion spent each year on treatment in just the United States. Obesity. Worldwide, 1.6 billion adults are overweight, with 400 million more who are obese. Costs $93 billion each year for medical expenses in the United States alone. At least 2.6 million people die annually from problems related to being overweight or obese. Environmental. Use up to 70% of clean water, pollute most of the water bodies, deforest the lungs of the earth, uses up to 43% of the world's cereal, uses up to 85% of the world's soy, cause world hunger and wars, 80% cause of global warming, plus more.
Some of the costs of milk consumption. Bacterial microbes, pesticides and enzymes found in cheese derived from the inner stomach linings of other animals. Up to 80% of the calories in cheese are from pure fat. Breast, prostate and testicular cancer from hormones present in milk. Listeria and Crohn's disease. Hormones and saturated fat leads to osteoporosis, obesity, diabetes and heart disease. Linked to higher incidences of multiple sclerosis. Classified as a major allergen. Lactose intolerance. Plus more.
Master, you said war is mainly due to meat eating. Master, can you enlighten me the reasons behind it?
Because of the law of karma. If thou shalt not kill, we should not kill other beings. If we killed, then that will bounce back to us. For example, in scientific research, they say that if you throw something into the air, and then you stand there and throw something into the space, and after some time, long time, it will come back to you. So That scientifically proved the law of karma. As you sow, so shall you reap. Whatever you give out will come back to you eventually. Because the vegetarian diet is good for you. It will purify your spirit, purify your aura, and make you clear inner and outside, and protect you. It's not only for me. It's not for the precepts that you should eat vegetarian. It's for the loving kindness to other beings, like animals, that you should be vegetarian. Even if God allows us to eat meat out of our own love individually, God will not forbid you not to eat meat. Because if you love your dog, for example, you raise dogs and cats, you wouldn't want to kill them and eat them. So why discriminate between a dog, a cat, your pet birds, and other outside birds and outside cats, dogs, or other animals like chickens and ducks and ox and cows and things like that? You know what I mean? The way you love your dogs and your cats and your children, you could also love a cow and a pig. So that's the way of love. Therefore, because of this law of love alone, we would not believe that God would let us kill animal and eat. Also in the Bible, God already say very clearly, who told you to kill all these she goats and he buffalo to make offering to me? Stop all this killing of the innocent lives. Otherwise, when you pray to me, I will not listen. God say that clearly. So no need to ask me any of this fundamental question. You should read more the Bibles, because in the Bible there are many, many hints inside. Not only hints, very obvious statement that God say we don't touch meat. Meat for the belly and a belly for the meat, and God will destroy both meat and them. Is that not so? That means don't touch meat. Also he say, don't mix around with the people who eat meat and drink wine. Is that not so? Yes, that's very clear.
Vegetarianism and religions.
The Baha'i Faith. Regarding the eating of animal flesh and abstinence therefrom, know thou of a certainty that in the beginning of creation God determined the food of every living being, and to eat contrary to that determination is not approved. Selections from the Baha'i writings of some aspects of health and healing. Buddhism. All meats eaten by living beings are of their own relatives. Lankavatara Sutra.
Cao Dai, the most important thing is to stop killing, because animals also have souls and understand like humans. If we kill and eat them, then we owe them a blood debt. Teachings of the Saints.
Christianity. Meats for the belly, and the belly for meats, but God shall destroy both it and them. Holy Bible.
And while the flesh was yet between their teeth, ere it was chewed, the wrath of the Lord was kindled against the people, and the Lord smote the people with a very great plague. Holy Bible.
Confucianism. All men have a mind which cannot bear to see the sufferings of others. The superior man, having seen the animals alive, cannot bear to see them die. Having heard their dying cries, he cannot bear to eat their flesh. Mencius. Essenes. I am come to end the sacrifices and feasts of blood, and if ye cease not offering and eating of flesh and blood, the wrath of God shall not cease from you. Gospel of the Holy 12.
Hinduism.
Since you cannot bring killed animals back to life, you are responsible for killing them. Therefore you are going to hell. There is no way for your deliverance. Adilila.
He who desires to augment his own flesh by eating the flesh of other creatures lives in misery in whatever species he may take his birth. Mahabharata anew.
Islam. Allah will not give mercy to anyone except those who give mercy to other creatures. Hadith.
Do not allow your stomachs to become graveyards of animals. Hadith.
Jainism. A true monk should not accept such food and drink as has been especially prepared for him involving the slaughter of living beings. Sutra Kritanga.
Judaism. And whatsoever man there be of the house of Israel, or of the strangers that sojourn among you, that eateth any manner of blood, I will even set my face against that soul that eateth blood, and will cut him off from among his people. Holy Bible. Blood meaning flesh.
Sikhism, those mortals who consume marijuana, flesh and wine, no matter what pilgrimages, fasts and rituals they follow, they will all go to hell. Guru Granth Sahib.
Taoism, do not go into the mountain to catch birds and nets, nor to the water to poison fishes and minnows. Do not butcher the ox that plows your field, tract of the quiet way.
Tibetan Buddhism, the offering to the deities of meat obtained by killing animate beings is like offering a mother the flesh of her own child, and this is a grievous failure, the supreme path of discipleship.
Zoroastrianism, those plants I, Ahura Mazda, or God, rain down upon the earth to bring food to the faithful and fodder to the beneficent cow. Avesta.
Everybody knows that vegetarian diet is good for health and to save the planet. They will be awakening their own great, compassionate, loving self-nature, and then their level of consciousness will rise up automatically, and they will understand more than they ever did, and they'll be closer to heaven than what they are right now.
Some of the tragic tolls of alcohol. 1.8 million alcohol-related deaths per year worldwide. Cost of alcohol-related illnesses, $186.4 billion in the United States, up to $210 to $665 billion globally. Disease. Higher amounts of alcohol increase the cancer risk. Even half a glass of wine daily increases the risk of mouth or throat cancer by 168%. Cancer of the liver, breast, colon, liver disease, cardiovascular disease, metal toxicity, brain damage, amnesia and dementia, brain shrinkage, organ failure, heart, liver, kidneys, stomach, pancreas, eyes, birth defects, mental retardation, fetal alcohol syndrome, stunted growth, facial deformity, sudden infant death syndrome, miscarriage. Alcohol-related violence, child abuse, 50% of cases, violence toward loved ones, 30% of cases, violent acts, 40 to 80% of cases, suicides, 20 to 50% of cases, plus more.
Recently, there's a professor, Ajit Varki, at the University of California in San Diego, and he discovered that a certain chemical in different animal meat is causing people to have an immune response or allergic reaction. Because our body treats this chemical as a foreign invader. This chemical is called new 5GC. And the researchers found that with long-term meat consumption, it can be causing heart disease, cancer, and other diseases. So it seems that meat eating is not only the major cause of the world's physical collapse and its spiritual downfall, but it's literally poisoning us one by one and without us even knowing it. Master, could you please comment on this?
Yes. In red meat, up to 11,600 micrograms could be even presented in the people daily serving of beef, and 5,010 from the pork, and 4,009 from lamb, for example. Even in goat cheese, they have it also. In salmon, in milk even, in cod, in tuna, turkey, and duck. They all have this element, which is very harmful to us. The more research conducted, the more harmful sides of meat will be found and revealed. That's why all the wise people don't eat meat, since times immemorial. Like begets like. If we kill for our life, that life cannot belong, cannot be peaceful and healthy. If the source of nourishment comes from death and suffering, our life cannot be healthy, long, and peaceful. This is not all the harm that meat causes to human health. There will be more if they continue research. But this up-to-date finding is enough to scare everybody off meat. I don't understand why people are still putting poison in their body. I guess habit is hard to change. But they will have to change, either meat or our lives. We have to put down that meat in order to save the planet and the lives on the planet.
Some of the benefits of a vegetarian diet: lower blood pressure, lower cholesterol levels, reduce type 2 diabetes, prevent stroke conditions, reverse atherosclerosis, reduce heart disease risk 50%, reduce heart surgery risk 80%, prevent many forms of cancer, stronger immune system, increase life expectancy up to 15 years, higher IQ, conserve up to 70% clean water, save over 70% of the Amazonian rainforest from clearance for animal grazing. A solution for world hunger: free up 3,433 billion hectares of land. Free up 760 million tons of grain every year, or half the world's grain supply. Consume 1/3 fossil fuels of those used for meat production. Reduce pollution from untreated animal waste. Maintain cleaner air. Save 4.5 tons of emissions per U.S. household per year. Stop 80% of global warming. Plus more. Save your life, be veg, go green.
It seems this situation was already announced in many scriptures, such as the Gospel of Peace from Essenes, the Holy Quran, the Bible, and many others mention this critical period. In similar cases in our universe, what determined the ones that were successful?
In any planet at all, if people are well informed on time, they can always take measures against similar calamity by heeding wise counsel and react according to correct advices. All the inhabitants of those planets can still reverse the situation and bring back to life the favorable result that they wish to achieve. Things can always change overnight if people turn and walk in the right direction. If we know that we are in the wrong lane and the opposite is correct, you just turn as soon as possible, right? You make a U-turn, or you turn wherever you can. Just the same with our planet situation right now. We know meat eating, scientifically, physically speaking, is a major cause of our planet destructive direction. Then we must turn around and walk in the opposite direction. The opposite of meat diet is a vegetarian, compassionate diet. All the animal product, or the killing of man or animal must be stopped if we want to stop the climate change. Stop killing and global warming will stop immediately. Because we turn in that other direction. If you're driving north, now you realize you're wrong. And the moment you turn back to southward, that is the moment you stop going north. Is that not so?
Yes, Master.
Wow, the same. Same with planetary danger right now. We are endangering it because we are living in the opposite direction, opposite lifestyle of what is good for us. So if we want to have good things happening to our planet and our lives, we have to turn to the opposite direction. That's it, very simple.
Some of the diseases related to meat consumption. Cured meats and fish increase leukemia risk in children. Antibiotic-resistant superbug infections from a strain of Staphylococcus aureus, blue tongue disease, E. coli, salmonella, bird flu, mad cow disease or Creutzfeldt-Jakob disease, 90% of the population at risk, pig's disease or PMWS, listeriosis, shellfish poisoning, preeclampsia, Campylobacter, Clostridium difficile, diseases hidden in healthy-appearing livestock. Some of the costs of meat eating. Infertility. Eating just one serving of meat per day increases the risk of women's infertility by 32%, with additional meat consumption increasing the risk. Heart disease. Over 17 million lives lost globally each year. Cost of cardiovascular disease is at least $1 trillion a year. Cancer. Over 1 million new colon cancer patients diagnosed each year. more than 600,000 colon cancer-related mortalities annually. In the United States alone, colon cancer treatment costs about $6.5 billion. Millions of people are newly diagnosed with other meat-related cancers every year. Diabetes. 246 million people are affected worldwide. An estimated $174 billion spent each year on treatment in just the United States. Obesity. Worldwide, 1.6 billion adults are overweight, with 400 million more who are obese. Costs $93 billion each year for medical expenses in the United States alone. At least 2.6 million people die annually from problems related to being overweight or obese. Environmental. Use up to 70% of clean water, pollute most of the water bodies, deforest the lungs of the earth, uses up to 43% of the world's cereal, uses up to 85% of the world's soy, cause world hunger and wars, 80% cause of global warming, plus more.
Some of the costs of milk consumption. Bacterial microbes, pesticides and enzymes found in cheese derived from the inner stomach linings of other animals. Up to 80% of the calories in cheese are from pure fat. Breast, prostate and testicular cancer from hormones present in milk. Listeria and Crohn's disease. Hormones and saturated fat leads to osteoporosis, obesity, diabetes and heart disease. Linked to higher incidences of multiple sclerosis. Classified as a major allergen. Lactose intolerance. Plus more.
We thank you for your presence on today's Between Master and Disciples. Tune in tomorrow for Part 2 of Supreme Master Ching Hai's excerpted discussion titled Eating Meat Destroys Lives and Harms the Planet. Animal World, Our Co-Inhabitants is up next, right after noteworthy news, here on Supreme Master Television. May the Providence guide us in wisdom and love.